Well, good morning and welcome to our 100th episode of Lightbulb Moments. And we're live on YouTube today, which is a first. Subscribe to our channel to check our past Lightbulb Moments episodes and more at Qnity. Remember, money's not the most important thing in life, but it is reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. I'm Tom Kuhn of Qnity for Schools, as well as I'm leading some data and research projects, as well as being honored to be on the Beauty Changes Lives board. Qnity provides financial literacy education and wellness programs, as well as execution support through our simple and visual tools and programs such as Qnity in Action. We're really here to help people go from what's confusing, overwhelming, and complicated to a clear path towards greater prosperity. And this particular form of Lightbulb Moments is here to help you have some lightbulb moments in that quest. Qnity is really about making things simple, visual, and actionable. And we really lean in very heavily towards financial wellness and financial sustainability for multiple segments of the professional beauty and wellness industries, starting with our Money for Students, which is for schools and students, which teaches financial literacy. Money SBO, which is for small business owners and their teams, which is financial management. And then Money Pro, which is really an employee benefit for professionals and their families. And that's really about financial wellness. To prosper, manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. And as I look at the people that have joined us and the people that have joined us over these last 100 episodes, I'm super grateful that you have shared this precious currency with us, your precious time. So thank you for that. Last week's Lightbulb Moments, we had many. We had several guests. We did a post 2 to 10 jam with many participants. And one of the Lightbulb Moments came from Colleen from Verde Salon Group in Canada. Everybody has a story, and you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. It's always a reminder to lead with compassion. So we're celebrating 100 episodes of Lightbulb Moments today. And I'm going to play a little video here, and this will be a great kickoff.
In May of 2020, when small businesses were just starting to reopen after the COVID-19 shutdowns, we started a weekly financial roundtable. It started out as a small brain trust of individuals who would come together to discuss relevant things going on in our community. Then I started sharing my weekly Lightbulb moments. Then we started inviting guests to share the spotlight. I planned to do these financial roundtables for 5 weeks. But as we interviewed our guests about their growing pains, successes, challenges, and the lessons they learned along the way, we had a lightbulb moment of our own. We realized how valuable it was to provide our industry with an opportunity to come together and learn from one another in a collective and collaborative conversation. So we kept going. This week marks the 100th episode of Lightbulb Moments. I'm so honored that you spent your ATM, your attention, time, and money joining these impactful conversations. During these 100 episodes, we've seen a lot of lightbulb moments. We've seen competing businesses come together to support each other. We've seen people share their best and brightest ideas with others in the industry. We've seen people form connections through vulnerability, and we've had the opportunity to spotlight so many amazing hearts and minds. But the biggest thing we've experienced is the power of community. I'm so grateful you're part of ours, and I hope you'll join us on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Time. Save your seat at qnityinc.com.
Well, I love that video, and the thing I love about it the most is how it honors and celebrates the people that really made this possible. So I'm super grateful for that. And let me pull this back up on the screen here.
Of 2020.
Okay, let's see here. Here we go. All right. So my light bulb moments is really, there's so many light bulb moments about this forum. And I think the best thing to do is to invite Michelle to the conversation. Michelle Schuster, she is our COO. And I guess we could call her the first producer. I guess we didn't even know we needed a producer. Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Good morning. I'm wonderful. I need some tissues after watching that video.
Well, talk about great humans. And we're going to celebrate several others that weren't even on those videos. But, I got an interesting text this morning for all of you. It was from Steve Reese, who can't make it today. Steve Reese, many of you might know him. He was Advanced Publishing, which turned into Bobbit. Now he's at Pivot Point. And he said, 100 episodes. I'm sure you're aware that a 100 episode is the standard benchmark for TV shows to have enough content to go for syndication. He said, that's where the real money is. Well, we never really did this for the money, and that's not the purpose. But yeah, it's a great milestone. And Michelle, you're a big reason behind this because, as we said in the video, we were just starting out. This is very grassroots. It seems like everything we do at CUNY starts out grassroots and it just picks up momentum. So
Sure
would you share maybe some of your key light bulb moments, and then we're going to celebrate some of our guests and unpack some of the light bulb moments over the last couple of years?
Yeah, when we first started, Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, we would send out emails to the Brain Trust, 20 to 30 people that you had connections and relationships with, and we would just ask them, like, is there anything specific? Have you had any financial ahas, any challenges or lessons or data or best practices that are top of mind for you? And I went back to some of those emails as we were thinking about this episode. Tom, I have over 500 email responses in a folder in my email of just all of the wisdom and insights that everybody shared. And I just am at awe about how vulnerable everybody was willing to be. They shared their numbers, they shared their revenue, their growth, their losses, their staff losses, their changes, their wins, their challenges, things that didn't work so well. And you and I would pour through those on Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning, we'd be in the office making these 9 grids out of everybody's feedback and trying to pull back, what are the greatest nuggets coming from all of this. And, we'll go through a few slides of people, but, like Terry McGee and Sam Mercado and Megan Jasper and Louisa calling in or emailing us from Italy hours later, Candace sharing her pictures of, trying to open up her salon outside. Lisa Justice always having something encouraging. Jan Hill always had some inspiring word of encouragement for us. Those emails are just so, and all of the wisdom shared are so precious. And it's just evolved to having guests and people taking out their time to connect, to rehearse, to share what's happening for them, to join us during these sessions. It's in your intro video, Tom, you said that you had a goal of creating a coalition to address the financial sustainability of the salon industry, to arm industry leaders with information so you could make informed financial decisions. How far have we come, in the last 100 episodes?
We've come a long way. And, we're going to celebrate some of the light bulb moments of individuals here. And last May at the Phil, our big annual conference, which is coming up next May again, we did have a celebration of light bulb moments. And we showed a video at that time of several of the different contributions, and it was sort of looping in the background. But me personally, I never really got a chance to dig in on that and properly honor several contributors. So let's go for it here. So Jason Craven, I have to go, to the very beginning and set the stage for where we were at, given the economy, the pandemic, et cetera. And this started in May of 2020. And Jason Craven was one of our first guests. He came back on in June, but I think he also was on in May. And Jason was super generous with giving the rest of the country a read on what things are going to look like when they reopen. What was the staff reaction? What was the client reaction? What did the numbers look like? So big shout out to Jason as well as Jill. So we'll start there. Amanda Hare, also Atlanta based, really multiple guests on Lightbulb Moments, also shared initially some of her observations as they reopened. And what happened is that everybody else in the country were able to learn from these people. So I really think we got to give a shout out to those guys for being there when it counted the most. You'll notice that Amanda has 3 little light bulbs there, which means that she's been a guest 3 times. And did you have any comments before I go to the next name?
Amanda was on 2 weeks after they reopened and was featured in our very first episode with guests and sharing all of the things that went well, all of the things that didn't go well, and really helped to give us wisdom on how to reopen. They were the first in the country to be able to reopen their doors.
And then we had Van Council, who joined us. Actually, he's recently joined us again. So he's joined us 3 times. And Van is just a great guest, inspired us, provided some out-of-the-box thinking, described very candidly how his business was evolving. Those episodes, all these episodes are fantastic. Big shout out to Van for participating.
Van is the owner of the most watched episode on YouTube, Tom.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Awesome. Lisa Cochran, very generous with some of the things that she was doing to pivot her business at the time. And then we have Christine, who I think Christine might be joining us today. She came on several different times and talked about 2-number growth. The J months, which are January and July, being great planning months. So Christine of DV8, great guest.
Great guest.
Terry McGee, you already mentioned Terry. We of course love Terry. He's just one of the best humans in the world. April McDaniel, who sent me a nice, delightful text this morning. It was great to hear from her. She provided some necessary input from a financial standpoint. Chris Murphy, really a great ops guy, very tech savvy, great insights for him. I believe at the time, Chris was looking at he had a second location, and ultimately the pandemic was a silver lining for him. I hope I have my facts right on this. Chris will correct me later, I'm sure, but a silver lining for him is he was in not the best lease, and a silver lining for him was to merge his businesses together. And that was really a great thing for others to hear, because he's not the only one that had 2 locations or 3 locations, whatever, and merged at least one location. So it's often a scary thing, and it's often a feeling of like failure or whatever if you close a location. And Chris gave us a very different perspective, which one that I embrace, and that is that sometimes consolidation of a couple locations is a very good thing.
I think Chris gave people permission to actually go down that route and even think about the possibility of that. One of the things you say often, Tom, is that one idea can have a 5 to 7 figure impact. And Chris giving people permission to look at their number of locations, I think made an impact for a lot of people.
Luke Carlson, I love Luke. This is from another industry. Luke Carlson is the owner and founder of Discover Strength, a boutique set of fitness studios. He's also been a presenter for us at 2 to 10 twice. He joined us for Lightbulb Moments twice, both times with his CFO. And it was one thing that he did that just blew me away, and I think I shared that at the time, is as a team, they created 1,000 customer videos, personal video, like to Tom Kuhn, the whole leadership team. And it was like, wow, talk about client engagement and commitment. I mean, that one really blew me away. I still have my video, of course. So, and Luke is a very innovative business owner in another industry. And he's not the only person from other industries we invited, but I loved having Luke and Jessica. Anna Pacito, I mean, she is just a global artistic force, known in the beauty industry, Canadian, out of Montreal. She's also a business owner. Failure has never failed her. She also talked about something else that has stuck with me is when she's, when she goes on stage, it's a tremendous amount of pressure to go on a high platform like she does. And she puts herself into a state of Hulk. That is sort of her alter ego. So when she steps up on the stage, she's like another human. So cool to hear that from someone that is at the top of the industry as it comes to creativity. I'll let you start talking about Sam.
Sam, I think Sam gets the award for bringing you to tears the most times.
I know.
His shares are so
Thanks,
powerful.
Sam. Yeah.
And it was so fun to work with Holly and surprise Sam with his golden light bulb. That time with you, Sam, was so incredible. And you have just shared so many things that have impacted our group. And we just feel so honored that you join us and that you share all of your wisdom with us.
Fight the fight. My God, how do you forget that, huh? Love it. Susan Heisey, I was super impressed with what they did as a team. And this was maybe a few months later, how quickly they pivoted and how their communication systems evolved and how they as a team came together. It was just really, really cool. That's a lesson of what to do in a crisis and how to be very proactive about it, which, these are timeless lessons. All of these shares are timeless. Then we have Karen and Joe DeAnda. They've been on as guests. They're regular participants out of Fort Collins. Had many, many things to share, not only when they were guests, but then through the chat, et cetera. And Karen also wins the award for the most text she sends me after Lightbulb Moments. She usually gives a nice little shout out. That was a great episode, whatever. So great people. Louisa, I believe that Louisa might have sent me something.
She's joining us from Guatemala this morning. I just got a beautiful picture with her tropical background.
So Louisa somehow figures out how to run a New Hampshire-based business when she's at global destinations. Most of the time that Louisa had joined us, she was at Italy. And the other thing that blew me away about Louisa is how she did recruitment and how she was hiring people from Italy when everybody over here was struggling with hiring people. So really creative way for her to manage the business remotely with a great deal of success. We love Louisa. She's a community educator also, and just a wonderful lady. We also invited Andrea from Italy. He has a product line called Organethica. I think I pronounced that. It used to be called Organic Pure Care. I think the old name is still up here. And it was really interesting to have someone from Italy come on here and talk about what it was like over there, as well as just different things that he was doing, business stress test, et cetera.
That stress test that he put his leaders through really stuck with me, Tom, where he sort of manufactured situations and allowed the leaders to believe that they were true, for them to really see how they could perform under pressure.
Love it. Kate Cottrell from ILOF, she up until very recently, she was more in a general manager role. She's one of many people in the last couple of years that went from being a team member or member of the leadership team to becoming an owner. Congratulations to Kate on that. It's not an easy chore to do that. It's not a chore, actually. It's a labor of love. But the thing I remember most about Kate was her talking about silver linings. And silver lining, she's really, even though it's a common term, I give her credit for really bringing that language into the conversation and shared multiple silver linings, which specifically for her and the team were addressing things that had been on their to-do list for many years. And the pandemic was an opportunity to go from the idea into execution.
It became a little bit of a standing segment for us to then talk about what other people were seeing as silver linings.
Josh, I think Josh might be joining us today. We had Josh as well as his partner and sibling Tim Howard from Vish. Both times we had them on, they were just great. Getting into some of the analytics behind hair color and waist. And Josh is a numbers guy, but he's also a very pragmatic guy. And he's always been a great guest. They've also sponsored some of our events. So both episodes with Josh, I think one was just with Josh and one was with Josh and Tim, were totally worth listening to. Carrie Bennett. At the time that here's another case of a transition that happened in the last 2 years. Carrie had been owner of the Atelier salons out in the Bay Area for a very long time. I'm not even sure how many years, but it's a few decades. And she transitioned her business to a great team member, Anna Johnson. We think the world of her. She came on and really addressed some very interesting real estate type language and opportunities that a lot of us hadn't really thought of. William Edge, never invest in business, I only invest in people. Another great guest. William has a business down in Texas. The guy's got a heart the size of Montana. He's an amazing guy and a great guest. Rodney Cutler, old friend of mine. I love Rodney. I don't get a chance to talk to Rodney very much. He's in New York City. He was a great guest. He talked about commerce, creativity, finding your niche, sort of the cool factor. Rodney's episode was fantastic. And, again, with celebrating this 100th episode, I'm also giving each of you permission to say, hey, maybe this is something I want to listen to, because not every one of these conversations were about the pandemic and getting out of there. These are like rich lessons by legends in the beauty industry. Karen Gordon. Karen Gordon is a hair loss specialist. I forget the term. It's you have to help me with this.
Ooh, I don't think I'm going to get it either.
All right. I'll have to get that one memorized next time. Forgive me, please. But Karen also great guest, and how her business has evolved from Jerry Gordon and Karen to Karen. And then Karen is a force in the industry, very active in the industry, and very passionate about hair loss solutions. Fantastic guest. Diane Stevens, this is one of my favorite quotes. I don't know if Diane's with us today or not, but Diane is a DC-based salon owner, amazing woman. I always love to see Diane and her husband, usually get to see him once or twice a year. The world has gone nuts and hairdressers can save the world. You got to love that one.
Love it.
All right, we've got Gene Gordon. Now, do a little scan here. Is Gene with us today?
He is. Yeah. Welcome, Gene.
Welcome, Gene. Gene is up early. He's out on the West Coast. Gene's been a mentor of mine and several other people. We always love getting Gene's input, and it was just a delight and an honor to have Gene as a guest. Gene, we'll have to have you back on as a guest again. Your wisdom has no boundaries to it. So certainly that was an episode that I loved. At the time, he really talked about us creating more of a financial coalition, and which really, I think, gave us permission as a company to lean in more, even more heavily on helping to make this industry financially well and financially sustainable. And Gene's inspiration, validation, coaching, wisdom has just been invaluable. And what a great opportunity for all of you to be able to spend time with him. All right, here's Megan. Megan is the was one of the two winners of the Golden Light Bulb. Actually, have a Golden Light Bulb right here, and so well deserved. Megan has been a regular on Light Bulb Moments. She also is a go-to for us. In many cases, it will be Monday or to be Tuesday, usually Tuesday. And here's a little quirky thing about Light Bulb Moments for all of you. And I've spoken about this before. I would say for the first year and a half, there was maybe only one or two guests that were invited to participate as a guest prior to 1 or 2 days before. Megan has always been a go-to for us to bring great conversation. I also give Megan a lot of credit for being one of the impetus behind creating the compensation study, because a lot of dialogues we had with Megan about communicating to her team about their paycheck, et cetera. Also, she was one of 4 companies that first submitted data, part of the compensation project. So Megan is a rock star. I'm sure you have some things to say about Megan.
They were one of the first also to implement really communicating about their compensation structure in a different way, where they included the value of all of the additional benefits that they offer for their staff. I think Megan deserves a little more credit too, because some of those guest appearances, I think she got a phone call Wednesday morning, and she's 2 hours earlier than us in most cases. So she's a trooper, and she always has great wisdom to share, no matter how close to the time.
And then, of course, there's Jana Westerbeek, who is Megan's collaborator. Jana and Frank are the owners of Gadabout. We had Jana on as a guest. Jana frequently is tuned in, and we just think the world of Jana and Frank and the whole Gadabout team, and how generous they are in their sharing, and how successful they have made this business, which is now in the 2nd generation. Then we have Nicole and Orlando Cumberlander, who are just great humans, dear friends. And I love this quote by Nicole: company culture eats strategy, visions, and systems for lunch.
One of my favorite quotes, and she lives it. They've got a great culture in their business and schools as well.
And then there's, of course, Orlando, her husband and business partner, who's very passionate about student success, and has also really inspired us in terms of financial literacy for students, the need, the difference between a student that has financial literacy and one that doesn't, and how that affects their professional career. So shout out to Orlando and Nicole. Phil Horvath. I've known Phil for many years. In fact, when I started in the beauty industry, we both were based in the Denver area. He was our biggest customer when I was in the world of distribution. Phil is a dear friend. He's also a fellow board member on Beauty Changes Lives. Phil is very passionate about the beauty industry. I saw a little different side of Phil in this session. He really is very passionate, has a big heart for the success, and the guy works tirelessly. Right now, he is the impetus behind a group called Unite as One, which is bringing all the associations together to speak in one voice, and also leading a project that will very much complement the compensation study as it relates to a way to reach out to the public about what a great career this is. So I'm sure you'll be hearing more about Unite as One, but Phil was really a great guest. And Trent, of course, we love Trent. Trent we had on several times.
I think Trent always sent me the longest emails about his thoughts, and he always had the most data and numbers with all of his emails and shares.
When everybody was contracting, he was expanding.
Yeah.
He was at 2 locations part of the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, he actually leaned into some opportunities where everybody else was consolidating or downsizing. He was expanding. I believe he took advantage of some SBA favorable loan terms. But yeah, Trent has been a great contributor. Then we have Sue Aarons of Studio B. Sue is a regular on here. We always love seeing that she's joined us today. I don't know if she's with us today or not, but she's been on multiple times. She only has one light bulb listed there, but in 2022, we've had her back. Linnell Lynch. I think Linnell has joined us this morning. My gosh, Linnell, Linnell's an early bird, early riser, as am I. And so for her to join us in Light Bulb Moments means that, first thing in the morning, well, I know what she does first thing in the morning. She works out. And then she joined us at 8 o'clock Pacific time. And every time I see Linnell, I thought, God, I'm so grateful Linnell has prioritized in her very busy day, multiple different roles, 8 a.m. right away joining us. And of course, she's the one that I work with closely with Beauty Changes Lives, because she is one of the founding members of Beauty Changes Lives. And Erin also has gotten to know Linnell very well, and she's just a great lady, a mover and a shaker, and great to have her as a guest. Steve Reese. So Steve, at the time, was publisher at Modern Salon. He has since moved on. He's moving on to be at Pivot Point, as I mentioned. He sent me a nice text this morning. Couldn't join us. He has a standing meeting at this time, but he was great. I mean, we got into things such as technology adoption, innovation. Again, bringing the light bulb moments as a body of ideas and a body of work in and of itself. And I have this bin that's this big that has all of my notes, and I just keep, each week I just throw it on top, and someday I'm going to go back and unpack all of it and say, what did we learn from this? And I'll tell you, we learned a lot. And Steve was one of many contributors that really helped with great lessons.
I bet there's a book in there, Tom.
There might be a book in there.
Mm-hmm.
Christine and James Griffith. We've had them on as guests multiple times. I know in the case of Christine, employee experience, performance updates. I think we got a share from them, Michelle, about they were in one of their locations was in the heart of the recent hurricane. So why don't you read what she shared?
Yeah, James sent a hurricane update. They've 2 out of their 3 locations are reopened. The 3rd is still under repair. It's been 5 weeks and will likely be several more. Their leadership joined us at 2 to 10. They had 4 emerging leaders plus their general manager, all 30 years and younger, who really stepped up to do the repairs, manage the communication with team, manage the communication with their clients. And James was laughing that at some point they were like, James, just go away. You're making things worse, not easier. And they really just stepped up to the plate and managed everything. It was a really great share at 2 to 10.
Yeah, one of many great husband and wife partnerships in the beauty industry, and dear friends too. And James was, I remember having several private conversations with James about the workforce. And a little bit baffled in terms of why people were leaving, and concerned that they didn't really have all the information to leave his business to go to another opportunity, and quite disappointed, not necessarily from a standpoint of loss for him and the business. He was going to be fine, but really more concerned about these key employees, about what's next, and are they really being informed? Do they really know what it means to move on to what they often think is greener grass?
James provided that really epic graphic for us for 2 to 10 last year regarding, you think that the owner is keeping 60% of what comes in a service, but really they keep maybe 5%. And he had a great graphic that he shared with us that we've used in several different areas. Nice.
Stacy Sobel, I've known Stacy for many, many years. Stacy at the time was doing a bunch of her own interviews. Her and I wrote articles. so long ago, I don't even want to repeat how many years ago it was, but she is just an amazing woman. And we had her share some data from some recent findings from an industry study. Jackie from Lords and Ladies, L&L Salon Group. I think that Jackie and Rebecca both had a team meeting this morning, but both of them were great guests. Rebecca, we already showed in the video, so shout out to Jackie. She's been a regular in Lightbulb Moments and also was a guest and had a great share. We have Robert Passage, Chairman and CEO of Pivot Point, and we invited him as we launched our student curriculum, which I have to give Robert credit because I met Robert by virtue of being a fellow board member on the Beauty Changes Lives Foundation. And Robert is, along with Linnell and Jan Arnold, one of the founding members. Robert called me on June 7th in 2020 and left me about a 1-minute voicemail that changed the trajectory of our company. He said, Tom, we need a financial literacy program for students, and we would like to curate it, and we'd like to know if you would like to do it. It'd been a dream of Aaron's for many years. We knew that financial success has to start earlier. We knew that financial literacy was very important. But Robert, who's one of the most generous people I've ever met, is the one that deserves credit for us really now being up to 110 campuses. I don't even know how many thousands of students that now are being blessed with financial literacy. So they have the financial skills to match their art and heart. Nathan Lawless. Nathan and I have not spent a lot of time together. I think it's really important to hear the voice of a CFO. Nathan was a great guest. Nathan also has been very informative as we looked at the compensation study and how we bring in larger location groups, which is coming in the future. So Nathan, again, grateful to him for being a great guest, and we're going to have Nathan back on. Then we have Melody and Tracy. Why don't you take these two?
Tracy and Melody were some of the first to really look at compensation and how they, within our group, and openly share with us the journey that they went through. They also have a really great change management system that Tracy has championed and Melody implements within their locations. And they've just been really free with sharing their struggles and their wins and successes with us. And they are a dynamic duo that I just so appreciate the value of what they share with us. That price increase made all the difference, and taking a peek at their, it had been some time since they'd looked at their prices as they compared to those around them. And they were really able to do a dynamic compensation update based on that price increase.
Danny from Clementine's in Colorado shared some great ideas for high growth, and great episode with Danny. Shara. So Shara is the owner of Gervais Day Spa and Salons. She's based out in Oregon. And Shara takes 8 weeks off a year and has a 2-location business. And I'm unapologetically curious and envious of this because that's the exact marker that is on my trajectory, is 8 weeks off. And so that's quite an accomplishment to run a successful small business and to be able to take 8 weeks off per year. I think she's off right now, isn't she?
She is. She's also a community coach and is still taking those 8 weeks off.
Yeah. Great share by her. Kevin Perryman from Paris Parker. At 2 to 10, the guy goes the extra mile. We always tap into him as a conversation starter. So he went through a 10-week accelerated apprentice program. Again, unrelated to the pandemic. What a great episode to listen to if you're thinking about doing something like that. Then, of course, we had Tam who is a part of a second generation family nail business, a great guest. And then Tammy Coakley, she's the owner of Spa Blue. The big thing for her was really mental health. She was the one that brought that into the conversation with us, the first one. And I think that this is something that we as a community team have realized is that mental health support is something that is sorely needed right now. And when we've done studies in the compensation study and look at benefits, the two on the bottom of the list are two that people absolutely need, and that's mental health support and financial wellness support. So Tammy, a great guest. I don't know if she's with us today or not. She's in the greater Chicagoland area and 2 locations, and just such an amazing woman. All right. Well, Michelle, any final words? I'm going to bring someone else into this conversation for a moment. Maybe you can jump into the chat here.
I'm so excited for what the future holds for Lightbulb Moments. I can't wait to see the next iteration and excited to hand it off to the next generation.
All right. Well, Sonia, why don't you join us in the conversation? Good morning, Sonia.
Good morning. Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Well, and thank you for helping to create a vision for the next 100.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
So Sonia is relatively new to our team as of back in May, and she is the partner in crime for learning and development for community, especially amongst our money brands. And also, Sonia, you've been so helpful with the compensation study. You are the one that is going to help take Lightbulb Moments to another level. So should we give the group a little bit of a preview of what's coming up?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So Sonia is our producer going forward, and she's the one that will help in so many different respects. So why don't I take you through just a few? You can kind of walk through some of these, and I'll advance the slides for you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'd love to just mention that when I joined Community in the last week of April, I sat in on a Lightbulb Moment session during my first week. And I just remember really thinking, what a gift to be able to bring people together like this. I come from outside of the industry, and I feel like it's so rare to have any opportunity to learn directly from and be in community with other small business owners rather than being like pitted against them. And I think it's just really beautiful that this forum provides that. And getting to work on producing Lightbulb Moments and thinking about the next 100 episodes has just been really moving and inspiring. I've loved getting to connect with people in this community. And that really brings us to what you've got up on the screen, which is this website. We have a brand new Lightbulb Moments website, and we are really excited to be able to have just kind of a home base for everything related to Lightbulb Moments. So you can check it out. We have a space where we'd love for you to share your Lightbulb Moments so that we can continue to feature all of the wonderful takeaways that you have from these sessions. We have a spot for guests. We'd love to hear who you want to see in this forum. And if you are a person who'd like to be a guest, there's a spot for submitting a form for that. So we're really just hoping to hear more from you, gather your feedback, make sure that these next 100 episodes are really relevant and impactful. And so we're here and we're listening, and I'm really excited to join Tom in producing these next 100 episodes.
So this is a subset of the Community Inc. website. Is that correct?
Exactly. And I'll drop a link in the chat.
Okay. And, you know, submitting Lightbulb Moments would be great. Michelle mentioned we send all these emails out to people asking for Lightbulb Moments and in the early days. And we would love for you to, on a frequent basis, hey, if you have a Lightbulb moment, it's very user friendly. Go to the website, just drop it in, and we'll make sure that we cover it in an upcoming episode of Lightbulb Moments.
Exactly.
And then also calling out to this is great guests. When you want to be a member of our Brain Trust and be a guest, that would be the place where you would submit your interest, and we'll get back to you. All right. So going forward, we are going to be more intentional about having what we'll call weekly features. And I'm going to give you a preview of some of the segments that will be within Lightbulb Moments. Now, we won't be offering all of these segments every single week. We'll sort of cocktail them together depending on what's relevant, what's important, if we have news. So it's not like we're going to be doing each of these segments each week, but let me take you through them. First of all, a Money SBO is really financial management and profitability for small business owners and their teams. And Candace is the one that that teaches the Money SBO course. Last week we had Roman B. I can't pronounce his long last name, as a guest, and he referenced Candace because of her incredible performance in her business. So we certainly love to have bite-sized nuggets from Candace going forward, actionable ideas as it relates specifically to financial management in your business, whether you're a salon, whether you're a spa, or you're a school. Kevin's Corner. Kevin is a CPA with Lightheart Sanders. They are actually a sponsor of Lightbulb Moments. Kevin will be joining us on a periodic basis to provide certain tips, updates, etc. As it relates to taxation and other matters. I think we have Kevin joining us, in December 7th, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's just to be mindful of taxation. Most of us underestimate the impact of taxation on our financial success. And I think giving Kevin an opportunity to periodically jump in will no doubt save you lots and lots of money and give you ideas, whether you work with Kevin or whoever your CPA is. So we're super excited to have Kevin as a regular. Money Pro, which is our financial wellness that's offered as a benefit for employees and their families. Marie Grand, is on our team, and we'll invite Marie and other members of our team to share some things about Money Pro. Michelle, I'm going to give you a quick prompt on that one right now, because we're in the middle of a challenge with several team members. A money metric. So you want to just go, because we're going to have results on that towards the end of the year. You want to do just a very quick share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a 13-week money metric challenge, and we are challenging participants to increase their credit score, decrease their money out, and increase their savings, decrease their money borrowed. And so we're giving tips for making an impact in all of those areas, and having a challenge for 13 weeks. We have about 10% of our Money Pro participants enrolled in this very first challenge. And heads up, we will have another challenge starting in January. We'll start out the year with a new 13-week challenge. So everyone who is enrolled in Money Pro will have an opportunity to join that challenge as well.
The research is overwhelming in terms of financial stress and financial strain and worry, and how it impacts an employee, how it affects productivity, creativity, et cetera. So it's wonderful to see team members being engaged and taking greater control of their financial future. Then, of course, we have Money for Schools. Lisa from our team is client success, whether it's Lisa or Aaron or someone else will certainly have shares that are specific to schools. And then, of course, the data projects, including the compensation project that we're in the midst of right now. We have a great study team. We have some very, very strong data, high-skilled data people such as Ben. Stern is a PhD. He's helping to write the report. And then we have Jared and two members of our team that have been very active in obtaining the W-2 data. We're deep into this right now. We will continue to do compensation studies in the future, and this will be a great forum for us to bring us up to speed on what type of research and data. And here's what I will tell you. You will be the first, because Lightbulb Moments will be the first place that we will offer findings, insights, et cetera, as it relates to compensation and other research. All right. Next, I'm going to invite Aaron Kuhn off to onto the screen here. And by doing so, I'm going to remind us about this quote: money's not the most important thing in life, but it is reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. Well, good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy 100th episode, and thanks so much for having me.
So what the heck is Money O2?
Well, Money O2 has been a vision for a while now, and we've been doing a lot of things here at CUNY, but this will be released very soon. And this is actually a podcast. And so there's a lot of exciting episodes, many of you that are actually on this call who have generously donated your time to be a part of this. But what we really wanted to do, and the inspiration behind this, was Lightbulb moments, and some of the things we talk about on this show really fall under our SBO division, right? It's really appropriate for owners, leaders, and managers, right? People in leadership looking for trends and data and best practices and things like that. But a huge component of this industry and a huge part of who all of us collectively on this call are responsible for leading are also professionals and students. And so we wanted to really have a platform and an opportunity for those individuals to be able to tune in and learn more about money beyond the educational curriculums that we're providing. So this is a little bit more of an inspiration combined with action show, really sharing people's money stories. Just because this is our community, this was set to go live and it was called Money Stories. And then legal told us that we could not use that name. So we had to pivot, but it really worked really aligned with what we're doing at CUNY around the philosophy of money and oxygen, right? Tom always starts these light bulb moment sessions with the quote by Zig Ziglar, money isn't the most important thing, but it is like oxygen. And one of the things that we ask professionals and students is, reflect on a time that you did not have money and what were the feelings that you think of. And the words that came up were choking, drowning, can't breathe, suffocating. And so it just kind of played on this word around money oxygen. So really, this is a podcast and a show to really breathe life into your money stories and professionals' money stories and students' money stories. And there's some really, really vulnerable, transparent conversations with leaders in beauty, and some really amazing professionals. We had Tracy share how she moved from an abusive relationship, not understanding her money at all, to building over $1 million nest egg, and now really using her salons as a platform to teach women to be financially independent. And really, that is her primary motivation. We had someone, I'm not going to say the name because I want to wait till the episode, but who didn't pay taxes for 6 years and was chased by the IRS. And so went from having no money, back payment of taxes, and now is, I think she makes over $300,000 a year now as a service provider. So it's really some incredible stories and transformations that we hope you can kind of tune in on, listen while you're on the treadmill, listen when you're at work. Your students and professionals, as they're engaging with Money Pro and other conversations, can really get a little bit more of a story-driven approach around money. So that's the real inspiration behind this. I would love to have any of you of guests who have a really vulnerable, transparent money story that you'd be willing to share, and watch for this coming out on podcast applications to you near you very, very soon.
Great, Erin. And we'll occasionally have you join us on here to give us a little tease about who your guests are. And I'm wondering who that guest is that you're talking about. So I'm going to have to watch the episode. All right. Other things that we're going to do on a go-forward basis is we have this method, it's called In the Barrel. And this is an opportunity for an individual to be a bit more vulnerable and to share a challenge, an issue, or something they're really struggling with. And the format of this is that individual has under 2 minutes to get it out. And then the entire group, which is all of you, will have the opportunity to provide some input. So we thought that would be a really great thing to occasionally feature. And if any of you want to go in the barrel, we should do a demo session so you can see what it is if you haven't experienced it. But we also see that to be an important segment going forward. And then, of course, we have our light bulbs. I have more light bulbs around here. I got the $1 million light bulb. I have the purple light bulb, which occasionally just spontaneously just gives someone a purple light bulb. We have the golden light bulb. We have the light bulb wave, for a great light bulb moment. So, but if you think about it, life is full of light bulb moments. And In many cases, we can date the beginning of a new era with one idea. So before we leave you today, we also will give updates on the calendar, key dates. There is one that I want to call your attention to. May 21st through 23rd will be our second Phil conference. This is unlike 2 to 10 in that it's open to single location also. We also are opening it up to more schools. And we have some ideas to take this to, not just ideas, we have plans to take this to a whole nother level next year. So mark the dates, May 21st through 23rd. We wanted to get through 2 to 10 before we open up enrollment. The city will soon be announced. It's going to be a great, cool city. So save the date for that. One more time, Sonia talked about a couple things. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can search for Cunity. Go to our webpage. That's where you'll have an opportunity to submit your own light bulb moment, as well as suggest a guest or be a guest. And we would love to hear from you. Closing thoughts, my closing thoughts really always boil down to who's with us, because that's what's most important to me, is not really what comes out of my mouth. It's what comes out of the mouth of the guests. And then also all of you that showed up today, and I'm going to shout out a few different people such as Will and Vanessa and Trent and Terry and Sharon and Sam, Roman, hello, Rebecca and Nina and Michael, Melissa, Megan, Marty, Marie, Linnell, Louisa, Lisa, Laura, Con, Kate, Carla, Carrie, Carla, Josh, Joe, Jared, James, Holly, Heather, Jean, Diane, Denise. God, such great people on this session. Christine, Carolyn, and then Anthony. And then, of course, members of our team. Shout out to JP from our team. She has been instrumental with helping Lightbulb Moments move forward. So great shout out to JP, as well as Marie from our team. So anyway, I see that it's 11 o'clock on the dot. And this is as long as we will go in a session going forward. We're trying to keep them in under 45 minutes. But thanks for joining us. Here's to the next 100 episodes. Thanks for being such a big part of this. And we look forward to the second 100 episodes being better, more fulfilling, more enlightening, all the above as we take it to another level. But we do not have plans to make this a syndicated TV show, just to get the record out. All right. Thanks again to all of you. I'll stick around for a couple minutes here to jump in the chat. Michelle, thanks for joining us today. Sonia, thanks for assuming the role of the producer going forward. And thanks to all of you for Leon's on there too. So, all right, we will see you next week. Thanks again and have a great week.